My name is Matthew Flynn. I am the lead for one of the working groups of the DigiNet Cost Action Program, looking at age inequalities and digitalization. And I'm here with four of my colleagues who are just about to submit a special issue proposal on digitalization and age inequalities to human relations. And I'd like to find out a little bit more about the special issues. So I'll start off with Maeve. Maeve, can you tell us a little bit about your proposal?
Sure, Matt, happy to. So we know that digital transformation of work is reshaping how aging and later life employment are experienced and governed. But simultaneously, demographic change and policy pressure for longer working lives place older workers at the centre of debates about labour market sustainability and indeed on social justice issues. But despite this, we know that critical age studies, gerontology, and organisational studies highlight how stereotypes of older workers have become embedded in recruitment, promotion, and performance management. And this leads to marginalisation of older workers and positions them as less desirable employees who are tech resistant, and such is the stereotype. But these issues carry really important theoretical, practical, and policy implications. So theoretically, they invite renewed attention on how socio-technical change reshapes age relations, identity, and power inside organisations. From a practical perspective, organisations face pressing challenges in designing inclusive digital training pathways, managing intergenerational teams, and retaining experienced workers. And at the policy level, these dynamics intersect with wider debates on labour shortages, on welfare reform, and digital inclusion. So by integrating evidence across these domains, this special issue aims to advance a coherent research agenda on how digital transformation reorganises age inequalities at work. And this idea is building on our DigiNet cost action, for which we're all members. The main objective is to overcome critical gaps in conceptual innovation on the influence of digitalisation on work inequalities in later life, in order to address these research policy disconnect and tackle work inequalities in later life redefined by digitalisation in Europe.
Great. So you mentioned the DigiNet Cost Action Program. Seijdi, can you tell us a little bit more about the program and the network which brought about this special issue proposal?
Absolutely, man. DigiNet is a cost action that brings together a large and genuinely interdisciplinary network of more than 400 researchers from across Europe and beyond, working at the intersection of digitalization, work, and age inequalities. Its core aim is to advance understanding of how digital transformation reshapes inequalities across the life course, particularly in relation to employment, skills, participation, and social inclusion, and to connect this research to broader policy and societal debates. What makes DigiNet especially valuable is that it does not treat digitalization as a purely technical process, nor age as a simple demographic variable. Instead, the network foregrounds how digital technologies interact with organizational practices, labor markets, welfare regimes, and everyday working lives, often reproducing or intensifying existing inequalities. This perspective aligns very closely with the focus of the proposed special issue, which examines digitalization as a relational, socio-technical process with implications for power, exclusion, and inequality at work. From an editorial perspective, DigiNet offers several concrete forms of support. First, the proposal for this special issue was developed through extensive discussion within the network, drawing on insights from multiple working groups. This means that the intellectual agenda of the special issue is already grounded in collective debate rather than reflecting concerns of a small group of scholars. The topics we are proposing, such as algorithmic management, digital skills, aging workforces, and unequal access to digital opportunities, are central themes within DigiNet's ongoing research and activities. Second, DigiNet provides access to a broad pool of high-quality contributors and reviewers. Because the network includes scholars from sociology, education, labor studies, organizational research, and policy analysis, it enables us to reach across disciplinary boundaries in a way that is fully consistent with the aims of human relations. As editors, this allows us to identify appropriate reviewers, ensure rigorous peer review, and attract submissions that are theoretically strong, empirically rich, and internationally relevant. Third, DigiNet has an established infrastructure for dissemination and engagement. The network actively promotes research outputs through its website, mailing list, social media channels, workshops, and policy events. This means that the special issue can be widely circulated beyond the journal's usual readership, reaching researchers, practitioners, and policy audiences who are directly engaged with questions of digitalization and inequality. In practical terms, this helps ensure visibility, impact, and sustained engagement with the special issue after publication. Finally, DigiNet's strong policy orientation adds further value. One of the network's explicit goals is to translate academic research into insights that are meaningful for policy and organizational practice. This resonates closely with human relations tradition of linking scholarship to real-world concerns about work, organizations, and social relations. By maintaining the special issue within DigiNet's broader agenda, we strengthen its relevance for academic debates, but also for ongoing discussions about how societies to digital transformation in more inclusive and equitable ways.
Okay, that's great. So, Anabela, tell me a little bit about some of the themes.
So this special issue starts from the premise that digitalization is not only a technological shift, but a socially embedded transformation that both reflects and reshapes existing inequalities. So we invite contributions that critically examine how digitalization affects older people in work and society across multiple interconnected perspectives. So first, we welcome papers addressing social inequalities among older people, including unequal access to digital skills, training, and support. Contributions may explore how digital divides intersect with gender, education, socioeconomic status, geography, disability, ethnicity, migration, or sexual identity, and how techno-stress, motivation to learn, and retirement decisions are shaped by digital change. Second, from an organizational and employer perspective, we invite research on how organizations respond to aging workforces in digital and AI-driven environments. Relevant topics include age-inclusive digital adaptation, knowledge management, and succession planning, intergenerational learning, employment security, and age inequalities across occupations and industries. Third, we encourage contributions from a health perspective that examine how digitalization affects physical health, psychosocial well-being, and access to health and social care for older workers. Papers may address digital inequalities in health management, ethical issues in digital care, provisions and impacts on social support, autonomy, and quality of working life. Fourth, from a public and social policy perspective, we seek analysis of how institutional contexts, welfare systems, and public service digitalization shape age inequalities. Topics include the role of governments and social partners in delivering digital skills, infrastructure development, and cross-national or global comparisons. Finally, we invite contributions focusing on the media and cultural perspective, including representations of older people in digitalized workplaces, the role of media and stakeholders in reinforcing or challenging age stereotypes, intergenerational solidarity, and older people's voice in public and policy debates. Overall, if I can say, this special issue aims to advance interdisciplinary, and policy-relevant insights into how digitalization can support more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable working lives across the life course.
That's great. And Ebru, human relations values international reach and an inclusive approach to scholarship. What steps are you taking to ensure that that's embedded in this special issue?
Sure, Matt, I will explain briefly. Actually, we propose a strategy focused on accessibility and guidance to support inclusive scholarship and expand our international reach. First, we will introduce an optional early abstract submission process approximately a year before full paper submission, and this allows authors to receive initial feedback in the process. Second, we will host online workshops to ensure researchers from any location can participate. Finally, we will provide mentoring to support contributors, especially for early career researchers, first-time human relation authors, and scholars whose first language is not English. And that's our plan.